Do the Angels win the World Series? I don't know.
And your Angels in the outfield, do they?
I don't. In my heart, lightning strikes the field and everyone dies.
Dad, when are we gonna be a family again?
A boy searching for a future.
I'd say when the Angels win the pennant.
And Williams and Norton collide, and the catch is blown.
A coach running from his past.
Are you cracking up, or is this a repeat of Cincinnati?
No, it's nothing like that.
And a team that's their only prayer.
There's a thing called talent. They don't have it.
God, if there is a God, maybe you could help him win a little. I'd really, really like a family.
Ben Williams makes a miraculous catch.
Holy cow!
How do you do that?
Two angels came out of the sky and they picked up Ben Williams.
Great. A psycho kid. Oh, please, don't drink me. No. Just call me Al. No one can see me or hear me but you.
Do you believe in angels?
Yes! That must have been those chili dogs I ate before the game.
You really do see something, don't you? Yeah! Make some kind of signal.
I'll go like that, okay? Here we go again.
That's the game.
You believe there's real angels?
I know it sounds crazy.
I'm relieving you of your management responsibilities.
Somewhere between losing hope
You can't go through life thinking everyone you meet will one day let you down.
and finding the courage.
You can call it angels.
I won't play for anyone but George Knox.
You can call it faith.
That goes for me, too.
You can call it whatever you like.
They gave the world something to believe in.
I got nothing left.
You got an angel with you right now.
Danny Glover, Tony Danza,
Even though you can't see us,
and Christopher Lloyd.
we're always watching.
Disney's Angels in the Outfield.
I'm just gonna tell you, there's nothing better than an annoyed Jim in my eyes. So I've been waiting for this all week.
I don't know where to begin because I really enjoyed this growing up.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't find this anywhere.
Nowhere.
It's not streaming. And we're like, that's odd.
This Disney movie is not streaming.
Doesn't
anywhere.
exist. When I went to the library, I had trouble finding it. And they went, oh, that's a classic.
I had a similar reaction.
Isn't it? And then I told you I had like a good analogy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Christmas song, Baby, It's Cold Outside.
Oh,
where
excellent.
everyone agrees it's a classic. And then you actually look at the lyrics and you
peel
go,
back the onion.
this is a nightmare. And that's where we're at. To the point of the plot is a kid basically begging his dad, when can we finally be a family? And he gives a sarcastic remark of, when the worst team in the world wins. And
That's
kid's
when I'll be
like,
a dad again.
Oh.
Yeah, deal. That
Well,
sounds
so
good.
I just need that to happen.
Don't worry, Dad. I'll take care of it.
So, right out of the gates,
Mm-hmm.
this is a flawed concept.
Oh, this doesn't check out with you, though. A father and a son reuniting only over a baseball record.
But his prayer even is like, I'd really like a family. So if the Angels have to win to make it happen, God could have been like, that's not the way to make that happen.
Maybe I'll make your dad
No,
care. Do you just
no.
want the better dad? Like, you know what? Let's go through all the.
How about a good dad?
Let's corral all
Forget
these
the
people,
Angels.
these players, make other teams be bad, make this team be good.
There's
Then
a
they'll
quick
make
route to get there, and there's a
We're taking-
162 game season to get there. And we took the long walk.
They had time on their hands. I mean, Christopher Lloyd made it abundantly clear.
And second Christopher Lloyd movie, so you had to have been pumped.
Second, it played on two angles. It was the second Christopher Lloyd movie, and it was the second baseball movie. So as soon as this baseball movie started becoming flawed in any way, already I had you in my thoughts thinking, "Oh, Jim he's gonna be fired up. He's gonna be ready to go."
I think we just have to get into it because I'm torn in a lot of directions.
I think we will not be alone in these opinions.
All right, let's take it from the top.
So the movie's Angels in the Outfield, 1994, rating PG,
Yes.
which for a 90s movie I think applies. I caught a horse's ass, a jackass, a dam. I think it was all about in that ballpark. Where can you find it? As we said, the library,
Nowhere.
I guess.
Nowhere.
We tried streaming. We tried Disney Plus. We tried the streaming apps that you can do through your local library. They didn't have it. Like
Nope.
it's
Nothing.
They have wiped it from this earth. And then my first thought, I mean, it kind of put me in a headspace the entire movie. I was like feeling like I was a bit like a detective. Like, what is the reason this movie is not on Disney Plus?
And because it's a remake of a 1951
Right,
movie
right.
that is readily available on multiple apps.
Yep.
And that's there for the taking.
Yeah.
But why isn't this more recent movie there?
Well, we're gonna tee it off with that, and we're gonna go on a journey, and
Good.
maybe we'll be able to find out why.
Okay.
The taglines and plots for Angels in the Outfield I found were: when a boy prays for a chance to have a family, if the California Angels win the pennant, angels are assigned to make that possible.
I also saw that.
Couple of other taglines: you gotta believe, and it could happen.
Mm-hmm.
It could.
It could happen.
It could happen.
Plots done poorly.
The world has always wondered what it would be like if someone's very religious aunt rewrote Major League. Now we know. What'd you have for us?
I mean, and that Major League concept too.
I kept thinking of Major League throughout the movie.
Same.
Like,
My basic plot described poorly. I feel like this is the plot described poorly.
you guys did it. I can't.
You nailed
I
it.
can't recreate
Like
perfection.
a really terrible father
Mm-hmm.
makes a sarcastic remark and his son desperately tries to make that happen. That's the movie.
I mean,
And it's a terrible plot. And somehow it works in a lot of ways. And somehow it is a dumpster fire of a movie that you like cannot look away from. It is kind of insane and mortifying at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot explain this movie. Like
No.
I can't describe this movie accurately.
No.
It's wild.
I'm hoping people that enjoy the show with us, there'll be some that watch the movie before they listen to us, and then some that listen to us and then watch the movie, because I think they'll have wildly different experiences, but it'll all come to the same conclusion.
I'm
which is,
hoping.
what the hell is this movie?
I don't know.
So director William Deere of Harry and the Hendersons fame, the Sandlot sequel Heading Home, Dinosaurs the TV show,
Really?
and let's not forget Playboy Collector's Edition Volume 2.
Oh, who can forget that?
Volume 1, people thought that was better, but Volume 2, the kids
season
were
2, wow, what a comeback.
So do you know about the writers of this movie?
No.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Their names, Dorothy Kingsley, George Wells, and Richard Conlon. All three wrote the original 1951 screenplay for Angels in the Outfield. All three passed away after making this movie. This was all their last movie. They made the first one.
And they all
They
brought
made the
it back.
remake, and then they were peace out.
Okay, maybe there's a reason for that.
I don't know if they died of shame, and I don't know if it was just...
I think God struck them dead. He's like, how dare you? This is what you decide.
Why did you come back for the second time?
6.2 on IMDb. I don't think we brought that up yet.
No,
Which again fits into our category for kids 90s movies.
It all feels about
it's
in that
there.
ballpark. If it's a lot higher or a lot lower, then that's more telling. But the IMDb is usually like in the middle.
I guess we should have led with this. I saw this as a kid.
Yeah, I did not. So
You
I
didn't.
I need
so
more.
you're
from
going
you.
in blind.
Yep.
You're just like, all right, let's see
Baseball,
what this is about.
JGL, Christopher Lloyd,
Joseph Gordon-Levitt,
winners.
Danny Glover, Tony Danza, Matthew
Matthew
McConaughey,
McConaughey.
Adrian Brody, and Christopher Lloyd.
How do you lose? How do you lose?
This is a crazy, amazing cast for a kids movie, and it doesn't work.
Somehow too many. It's like when a horse by committee is a camel. It's one of those.
I think we cross the streams. If we're just gonna take a Ghostbusters analogy, too many things are happening, and you would think it would work. Something has gone awry, and I still don't even actually know. Like, as much as I'm saying, ugh, rough.
Right?
Did I enjoy the movie? There's a lot of parts that I really do
to enjoy. Mm-hmm.
And then there are so many where you're just like, I am really good at compartmentalizing because this is not good.
Yeah.
And I'm smiling in some moments and cringing in the other. And I'm walking away with like the theater mask where like one side is smiling and one side's frowning.
So you're right in the middle, 6.2.
That's how I feel. I'm like,
all the emotions.
It just depends what you focus on when you leave. Like if you're leaving the theater, it's a write your own story. You decide. How do you want to feel when you leave? Because you can feel great. You can feel like garbage.
It's your choice.
It's up to you.
Your choice. And it's the choice of a new generation. The runtime, 1 hour 42. Budget was $31 million.
Okay.
Which was higher than some movies.
It sounds higher.
Grossed $50 million, which is lower. So they made a little more than they spent, but not a whole lot more. And awards. Did you see any of the awards they might have taken home for this masterpiece?
I saw the 1995 Young Star Award for Best Performance by a Young Actor in a Comedy Film. And
JGL.
so JGL, which, and then, I guess it's a comedy film. It just seems like a weird category. Like Best Actor in a Comedy.
Yeah.
They don't give awards for comedies,
No.
So then I think they were just like, this kid's good. We should give him something.
Yeah. I mean, don't let him go walking home. And Milton Davis Jr., the other friend, Best Performance by an Actor Under 10. A very specific
Is that
category.
JP?
Yeah.
Okay. And JP's solid. He's an adorable kid.
Yeah. I kept thinking I'd seen it from something else and I couldn't find the thing.
don't know him in anything else. I couldn't find a picture of him grown up. Like, that was my fear, not to allude to Dead or Alive, but that's my fear when you don't see an adult picture. Either they just like dropped out of acting or they died. And so I was hoping he just dropped out of acting.
Yeah. So IMDb said 6.2 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, again, take it or leave it.
Hot garbage, but
32%. And the line that I saw immediately under Rotten Tomatoes was, a queasy mishmash of poignant drama and slapstick fantasy, Angels in the Outfield strikes out as a worthy family entertainment.
I think that's accurate. That's accurate.
Top 10 worst ranked of that year, according to the Spokesman Review. All right, this is where we come to my favorite category now of ratings, which is the Metascore, listed as a 44 with a range from 70 to 25. Now, if you recall, the Metascore is taking the reviews from publications and it's averaging it.
Sure.
As high as 70 from the Chicago Reader.
That seems a little high.
It seems high. As a neo-Dickensian Disney exercise in old-fashioned sentiment, this has a certain charm and a sense of human decency that tended to win me over. Time Out magazine, a 60. Fans should enjoy it. Parents won't suffer too much. That's a 60. It's not miserable. It's worse than getting your nails pulled out.
You should enjoy it.
It's getting worse from there. We have a 58 from Entertainment Weekly, a 30 from the Austin Chronicle. So syrupy sweet in its depictions of the game, angels, orphans, children's wishes, and estranged parents, that it may be all you can do to keep from taking a Louisville Slugger to the projectionist.
Wow. Aggressive.
So this is where it got real enjoyable for me. Our good friend Roger Ebert. He had it. It said it. So with the Metascore, it says a 50, which I guess makes sense because his rating is a 2 out of 4 stars. Now his comments. I have always had my doubts about any form of divine intervention in sports contests. The power of prayer may be remarkable in many other arenas, but why should God want my team to win instead of the other side? Isn't it insulting to request God to even take an interest in baseball? Angels, on the other hand, seem to represent less of a problem. Maybe because they have murkier theological functions. Milton saw them shaking the very heavens, but in our trivializing times, they've been downgraded to starring roles in greeting cards and pop songs. This movie is a good career move. He's really getting into it.
I don't understand. I could listen to that 25 times. I don't understand that.
So let's get to the meat and potatoes of it. The baseball action isn't very interesting because the Angels, led by Christopher Lloyd, manipulate the outcomes, and the human interest stuff is canned and unconvincing.
Okay.
The only character who really rings true is the comeback pitcher played by Tony Danza.
Okay.
Angels in the Outfield closely follows another movie about kids in baseball, Little Big League, which we haven't covered yet on this podcast. Both are about how small boys control the destinies of major league teams. But while Little Big League is a smart movie about a kid who really understands baseball, Angels is a dumb movie about soppy sentimentality. The choice is clear. Ebert, not a fan. The lowest rating on the Metascore, Gene Siskel. From the Chicago Tribune, a 25. A dreary...
Out of 26?
A dreary old-fashioned kids baseball fantasy. I didn't like it at all. I loved Little Big League. Written at a juvenile level. Tacky Angels. Danza is a weak character. It's been written dumb. Hardly a brain working.
Their critiques, some of them are not wrong. Some are just confusing. If your attack is like, kids are way smarter than they're portrayed in this movie, who cares? At no point am I thinking, oh, Joseph Gordon-Levitt doesn't seem bright.
Right.
Or he's cheering for a team. What is the issue exactly? He doesn't understand the game of baseball?
Yeah.
What?
Well, neither Siskel nor Ebert were pleased by this movie, and Siskel more than Ebert. But when I basically came to the end of the movie, I said, I'm not sure which. I'll say which one I agreed with, but Siskel might have been a little hard on it. Maybe not far off though. Let's dive in and see what the thoughts are on it. Both kids' parents are dead. They're living in an orphanage.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Sad, very sad. Let's set the tone with sadness. And from the jump, we got a cameo from the pigeon lady from Home Alone 2.
Yes,
I was very excited about that.
Thank you.
I didn't notice it right away. I know who that is, and then it took a few minutes. But pigeon lady from Home Alone 2, and the premise is set. Oh, I can't be your dad anymore. You okay with that? Good. We're good. I'll see you later.
Yep.
Maybe I won't. Who's to say? But he almost seems pleased, like he's kind of getting off the hook. He's like, listen, it's not happening. And to double down on it, this shitty baseball team, it's on them now. It's not my responsibility, which seems, again, like a promising premise.
But again, it was a throwaway remark.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is the biggest part. Like, forget about the graphics of the Angels or that the kid doesn't understand baseball.
Yeah.
It's that the premise of this movie is that a kid wants to know, when can we be a family again? And he could have said anything.
Yeah.
When pigs fly. Mm-hmm. That's the equivalent.
Sure.
He's basically just saying it's not going to happen.
But Pigs in the Outfield doesn't have the same.
Pigs in the Outfield doesn't work. Well, maybe. I mean, don't say that.
Disney.
Don't say that, because we had some sequels to this movie. So it's just, you're making a movie off a comment, and you're making that the title of your movie, and then the entire premise is flawed because it doesn't matter if that happens or not. It doesn't happen if the Angels win the pennant or not. Dad's a piece of shit.
Yeah. I mean, they could have called that the movie.
Shocking.
This dad's a piece of
shit. Another 90s dad who sucks. Oh my goodness.
I mean, we could just change the name of this podcast. 90s dads suck. I mean, it's loud and clear at this point.
So that to me is like, oof. And to your point, least favorite scenes, the opening 6 minutes. I mean, they come in so hard.
Very hot.
Roger, do you believe in heaven? I guess. That's where they said my mom went. Maybe that's where my dad went. Probably. Roger, how come Maggie's house is called a foster home? Do you think fosters live there? Like you are beaten over the head right away of like what the situation is. Got it. These kids have no parents. Oh, actually one does. Yeah. Just doesn't want to be around him. Care. We're in a foster home. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And just to double down on the bad vibes of the movie, from the beginning, the manager is fighting everybody. He is literally yelling and screaming.
He's angry.
And everyone, from the beginning, I was like, why is everyone so angry in this movie? Everyone is just filled with rage in this entire movie. I had a comment, a lot of cigs going on. And then the next one, a lot of cigs being smoked. Because it was like...
Especially in like the ice bath.
Yes.
Like everywhere. In any environment.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you're at. In the showers. It's
Cigarettes.
It's happening.
I have a cig. But at least this movie, I felt like, did its job of, towards the end, maybe not saying that cigarettes are cool, like, or at least giving off the indication that
because
it's
Mel
not a good.
dying from it.
I mean, he's a lifetime smoker. Maybe cigarettes aren't
Well,
cool.
I have some comments about that whole situation
Excellent.
too. But
from the beginning, Danny Glover is hot. He is not happy to be there. Something happened in Cincinnati that he's escaping.
I don't know what.
But he is there. He's not happy. They're not expecting him to win. He's upset because they're not winning. But even ownership says, "You're not here
it's
to
not
win.
on you to win.
Just hang back." It's
right.
essentially it's a league of their own. It's a league of their own situation. Like, you're here, you're manager. Just tip your hat and sit on the bench, sort of a thing. But George, early on in the movie, knocks out Ranch
Wilder,
the sports commentator.
Awful character.
Awful character. But George lays him out. So there's history there. And that was another part of this movie where I said, what's going on here? There's something here.
They played together. He slid into him with his cleats up.
And ended his career.
Does he seem like a baseball player to you?
He doesn't. But what almost befuddled me more was, okay, I understand George, I guess, carrying that for Ranch. But then Ranch is seemingly through the movie mad at George. I'm like, well, why are you... I understand why he's mad at you. Why are you also mad at him? Like... Like, do you misinterpret the situation? Like, it seems like that's what it was, and you don't have any argument against that.
And we're going to get into this later when is it racist problematic? The whole Ranch character makes no sense.
Yeah.
I get that he's like the heel, he's the bad guy, because you can't just have good vibes everywhere, I guess, for whatever reason. You already have an obstacle in that the team is awful.
Right.
But he has to create this other layer and then is so pleased when the team is doing poorly. But you're the announcer for the team.
Right.
Don't you typically want to cheer for them and hope they do well?
Which ties back to the Major League kind of feel of the movie where, like, there's people that are part of the team that don't want them to win and are getting angry that they're winning.
This is the Major League movie with, like, the F squad.
Yeah.
It just is like, take it down 3 notches. Minus the outfield, because you got Adrian Brody and Matthew McConaughey.
All-star cast.
But everyone else involved, there's no Bob Uecker.
Yeah.
You got Ranch Wilder.
That's true.
No Charlie Sheen.
No Charlie Sheen. It does feel like they watched Major League and they said, I mean, we could
can make it a kid's movie.
I mean, that's a kid's movie. Let's do it. But George and Mel, who's Tony Danza, have a conversation. They don't have good blood. They have bad blood. And Mel says... one of the two says a line basically indicating that George pumped Mel full of painkillers during his career.
Yes, that's one of my problematic questions. I didn't force you to take them, or I forget what the line is exactly, but basically he's like, "Oh, I recommended you take them. Like, I didn't force you to swallow them."
I didn't put them down your throat. You're like, you're the manager of the
suggested
team.
It. The semantics of this are wild.
So we're getting death, abandonment, addiction. Like
these are some heavy topics.
We are really not taking it easy in this movie. So we're checking all the boxes for a bummer time. One of the first hard laughs I have is when they do the goofy baseball pitcher and someone's singing the national anthem and his response
to the Hispanic players. Oh, it's about José. José, can you see? And they go, yeah. That's a bad dad's joke.
It is a bad dad's joke.
A 90s joke book.
To Hispanic players.
And you laughed at that, Nick.
I think I laughed more at that I was actually watching that happen. That
this isn't a movie.
That this isn't a movie. He's saying it to Hispanic players. It feels very like, no way is that flying today. And also it's hilarious that he's telling this joke to the Hispanic
It was
players.
just like, wow.
But he's already ripped off like multiple jokes. So we're along for the ride with the wacky goofball pitcher.
Yeah.
Like he's not laying off any dad jokes as it comes.
No, that's the character.
And to tie it back to the Major League thing, Ranch is pouring booze into his cup. Like this is so much the movie Major League for kids.
And that went over my head as a kid. There were several things. Can we jump to that category?
Yes.
Or is that too early?
Please, let's jump.
I don't like it.
Ranch Wilder pouring booze into his coffee during a broadcast at multiple times. Not great.
No.
Him looking into the audience with binoculars and saying things are looking a little bouncier today because it was
not hear that.
Female fans that were maybe a little bit more full-figured.
No. Ranch.
That was another one. And then to bring it back to Major League, because this is, again, it's like a kid's Major League movie. I always thought as a kid, the pennant was the World Series because everyone is so focused in these movies about winning the
100%,
pennant.
100%.
That's not the World Series.
No.
Why? Does it just sound cooler? The pennant? Is that like a easier, cleaner term to throw around?
It must be. It was heavily involved in kids' baseball movies. In the
Because
90s.
Major League too, it's like we just want to win the pennant.
Yeah.
Well, you don't.
There's actually
That's
something
part
else
of the way there, and then there's another step after, which would be way cooler.
Yeah.
If we could do that, let's shoot for that.
Yep.
But it's just like so focused on winning the pennant, and then the movie ends, and you're like, oh. Well, I guess they did it.
Who's
so
to say?
why do we
Write
have
your
to
own
keep
ending.
going
Yeah.
further?
At this point in the movie, we get our good friend Switchblade Sam, Christopher Lloyd, rears his horrifying head into the scene, and
But he's great. He's
he is
upbeat.
great.
He's fun.
he's dropping such knowledge as keep your nose clean and your heart warm.
And is that a drug related thing?
Oh, it definitely is. Don't sniff cocaine, kids.
Right.
Like be a nice person.
But could it just be also wipe your nose?
I think you're giving credit there.
I didn't want to. I didn't even want to Google
Switchblade
it.
Sam. Look at
I didn't even
Switchblade
want to
Sam.
Google it.
Do you
I
think Switchblade Sam ain't done some lines?
I don't
Come
know
on.
the origins of that saying.
Okay. Well, again, like the end of this movie, like the pennant to the World Series, we may never know. So this is where the boys they win a raffle, they win a chance to meet the players and the coach. They don't give a single shit. Like they could be less.
George Knox does not care either. They even joke about the picture how they all look like they're in like a prison photo.
Yeah. But I love the line they give Tony Danza, Mel Clark. He says, "You used to be Mel Clark." I was like, God bless it. That
One
was
of my favorite moments. JP
roast.
coming out.
Yeah, he came
swinging.
out. That was an all-time burn by JP. But immediately, Danny Glover finds Roger, like gets to his house, no problem. Like I can't imagine that would take any.
Oh, there he is.
Any amount of time. He's down the street from the stadium. I went and found him. Again, Roger, the kids do not care that the coach of their favorite baseball team is there. Like,
And
here
the
he is.
manager has nothing better to do than to drive
Absolutely.
a team bus to their house
he cares.
hang out with them.
He cares.
To like call them on the side on away games. This is what you're doing?
Yep.
You're just, the manager is heavily involved.
And Maggie comes out and they talk about going to the baseball game. And Maggie says, "I don't go to baseball games." To which I replied, "What happened, Maggie?
I don't know.
What is your story?
Something happened.
I need your story, Maggie."
This is a totally different movie.
I'm more interested in your storyline.
How did she become a foster mom?
Why is she avidly against baseball
wronged
game or
her.
organized sports?
But she's still an Angels fan.
Still.
She talks about it.
Yep. But so they win a game, and immediately the next game, stadium hopping. Everyone's on board. They've had a long losing streak, but immediately everyone's back on board to come see their Angels play. That makes sense?
Nope.
No. So David, who's the assistant, the team assistant, played by Taylor Negron of Biodome fame. That's at least what I remembered him from. Enjoyable scene with him getting mustard and soda all over his suit.
That's fun.
It's just fun for the family.
Sits in nachos.
Hilarious. Something maybe in the problematic category. After he gets all messed up, he takes JP to the bathroom with him. I was like, I don't know that you had to take him with. I mean, it just
it's part of the plot again. Like get him away from the field
Sure.
because I guess Joseph Gordon-Levitt can't talk to the coach freely. Again, this is another like, don't let anyone else know other than the people that need to know.
Right.
Except everyone knows.
Except everyone will find out. Everyone knows,
It
and
doesn't
they're
matter
find
when
out.
it comes to playoffs.
Yeah.
So forget that rule.
Right. He tells Roger to not. Christopher Lloyd tells Roger to not tell people about him or the Angels.
Right.
Immediately, JP and George. There are Angels here. They're everywhere.
Right away.
without regard for what has just been told.
It makes no sense.
Yeah. And this is where we get Adrian Brody, and Danny gets called in. Mitchell is upset by this. He is smashing stuff in.
He's the best hitter on the team, Nick, and you don't bench the best hitter on the team in that
but
situation.
on a team that's losing a lot, like, why do you give a shit? But seemingly, he gives a shit.
He still cares.
Yeah, that's true. Adrian Brody gets a hit, results in mayhem, which also involves a shot to the nuts, which if there's a sports movie in the 90s without a nut shot, then you've not done it correctly. They're starting to win. The Angels are starting to influence the game. There's a scene where I keep mixing up Danny Glover
George Knox.
George and Roger. Okay.
Okay.
There's a scene where George.
Because Roger is not a kid's name.
It 100% is not. Thank you for
if we're
calling
gonna do this again, if we're gonna remake this,
Roger's out.
No.
Yeah, there's no child named Roger. So thank you. So George comes to pick up the kids in his convertible.
Yeah. Sexy
little ride to pick up the kids. But Roger replies, JP doesn't ride in cars.
Yeah.
Do you have a solution for that? How about a bus? That's a car. That's a big car.
That's a car.
That's just a bigger car.
Vehicle.
It's just a car, but it's bigger. So I'm sorry, JP.
What about a go-kart? What about a scooter? A moped?
Anything. Doesn't matter. He used to sleep in cars, so it's a sad thing. But a bus is still a car. I'm sorry. Semantics aside.
Such an unnecessary plot point.
Yeah.
Why do we? Because it's funnier, I guess, if like a bus is pulling up.
They should have had the
Wienermobile
Wienermobile at this point. Like just get something.
But that's another like major league thing where they're driving like a baseball around town. Mm-hmm. It's like they're just taking things from it.
You know what this is? This is this movie. They took the script and then they had to turn in for a college assignment. They said, all right, now don't copy this, make your own thing. And they changed it just enough so they wouldn't get kicked out of college.
AI rewrote it.
These kids are living hard lives. The parents are alive or they're not alive. The parents are alive and who knows if they're coming to get them. Like it feels like one of the heavier kids movies we've done. That's just like, damn, like
and
it is.
Free Willy was another like, let's talk about foster kids. I don't know why we were so.
There was a big foster kid
like
movement.
Orphans, foster kids, that sort of situation.
Mm-hmm. Movies like this certainly made Charlotte very curious. Like, what does an orphanage look like? What do foster homes look like? I was like, this is the kind of thing that in 90s kids movies, they were happening.
And is that your target audience? Are you marketing toward orphanages?
I mean, it's a plot point at the very least.
They don't have much money.
No.
So they're not going to be buying
They're not
tickets.
going to baseball games. Yeah. Unless they're getting the free kids day.
I suppose.
But usually I feel like, at least now, maybe now they've done their research and this is where they're at now. Disney or Pixar movies, they go, start a movie, one of the parents are dead, or both parents are dead, and now we got a story.
The mom. She probably died of a terrible disease when you were too young to remember.
Probably.
That's the way to go.
But a couple of songs and we're out. This movie doesn't let you go. It's like hanging on the back of your shirt tail. It like keeps pulling you back to go. But also these kids are sad and this is kind of sad. So it really doesn't drop it.
Like reminds you of what could be.
Yeah. It's not happy.
I have many, many, many questions. And if I could just like rattle through some of these real quick. Do angels only care about sports teams with religious names? Because I feel like they lean so hard into that. It's the California Angels. Yeah. Angels are helping them.
Yep.
Couldn't it have been any team?
They're not going for the New Jersey Devils. That's what I'm telling you.
That's my question. So what about the Duke Blue Devils? We got the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. No. There's a lot of teams that have religious names.
Yeah.
Fighting Irish, they're very religious. I get they're leprechauns, so not fine. It's not as religious, but there are teams with religious connotations. Yep. But angels don't care about them. Is this a one and done thing? Are they coming back for more? I don't know.
Yep.
In the locker room, there's a lost and found that's absolutely full. How and why is that possible? There's so much stuff in there. How are these players leaving all that? Guys.
And also after 30 days, that thing's going to get emptied out. Like let's have a good
policy.
Are
we donating this to charity? Who's leaving this behind? This is wild. It's an overflowing bin in the lost and found.
Guys,
please,
on your way out,
keep an eye out for
you look in
Just clean up after yourself. Is that so much to ask?
Yeah. You make a dish, you clean a dish.
Why are the boys sleeping in sleeping bags on top of their bed?
They did comment on that, and the only response that
JP said he didn't wet the bed anymore.
Right.
So all the kids are. How does that solve that problem?
It contains them.
It contains the pee in a satchel. The other kids need to be punished as well.
Policy. Listen, if you're gonna bring gum for the class, bring it. Yeah, it's good for the goose.
So if one of you is peeing, in
then all of you
bag.
Pee. It's a policy. You all need to pee your pants and to do it in a sleeping bag.
Because then later in the movie, they all have matching sheets. They're from the Angels.
Yeah.
So I guess we just waived that policy pretty damn quick.
Listen, Maggie. She's tough but fair. All right.
Get it together. Good Lord. Adrian Brody. His name is Hemmerling in the movie. Mm-hmm. He pinch hits. The ball comes to a complete stop.
Yes.
And Al can be seen in the outfield kicking the ball around over himself. even though the ball is clearly in the infield, but the ball seems to be doing whatever Al is doing in the outfield. Is this a clone ball? Is this a multi-dimensional thing? How and why is this happening?
You've asked about 10 more questions than anyone who made this movie asked.
Makes no sense. Can someone who isn't on the active roster start a game? Because Mel Clark starts a game.
I had a whole question about that. I tried doing research. I was like...
Oh, I looked it up. You know what the answer is, Nick?
I know you did.
No. No.
He's on the IR. You can't just take him off and start him.
No, they can't. They can't start a game if they're not on the active roster.
Yeah.
They can't.
Yeah.
The Angels win 3 games in a row.
They're hot.
1, 2, 3. And George Knox says the boys can get anything they want, which includes him being pitcher for a pickup game of baseball with all their buddies.
Wholesome.
Because they won 3 games? That's his bar?
But how many games did they lose? Wasn't it?
Guys, whatever you want. What do you want? You want to ride around in a bus?
Yeah, sure.
You want to go to Disney World?
It's on me.
Or you want me to be pitcher in a sandlot baseball game with a bunch of your friends? Because anything's on the table.
I'll go with option C.
Would any owner on the brink of winning the division relieve his manager of their duties? Because that happens in the movie.
Well, because he's spouting, crazy.
He's talking about Angels. They're also about to win the pennant, which, as we know, is the pinnacle of sports.
Top of the heap.
And then, not to jump ahead to the end of the movie, but would an MLB manager adopt 2 kids right before the World Series? No. Again, I Googled it. He wouldn't.
That's actually on the record as no. That will not happen.
The only thing missing is Knox and Maggie getting married. That would have just been like the ultimate.
That would have been incredible.
You want to just
when that scene happened, my next line was, "What about Maggie? Don't leave me."
Poor
and
Maggie.
They asked her, like, Maggie, you're coming with? And I kind of was hoping, I was like, I know it's not going to happen, but could you imagine if she's like, come on, Maggie, let's go. And just brought
she only has 2 kids.
That's it.
And now they're gone.
Yeah.
So what is she, just living in an empty house?
Or
sleeping in a sleeping bag?
Maybe the twist as they leave, her angel wings come out and she flies away. She was an angel the whole time. Disney, call me. Speaking of angel wings flapping, after a handful of times of Roger doing the very subtle giant flapping arms, angels are in the outfield.
Yeah.
He's now done it at multiple times, and every time George is completely blown away by this. And even to the third time he does it, and he goes, "Wait, you really do see something?" It's like, "Yeah, George, he's done this 3 times, 3 times, and you've seen results."
You think I'm making this up, man?
Come around already! You understand what's happening here, right?
I see it.
Stop playing coy.
And as hokey as that is, I did have a category. Favorite moments.
Okay, yeah.
I like it.
I do like that. And I remember as
I had
a kid
to imagine there were kids
like,
too. Yeah. They probably love that. They probably love that.
It's kind of like the original wave.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's just everyone doing something and you're like, I know what's going on.
It seems fun.
I get it.
Yep.
I also liked when JP says, "Look, it's God's thumbnail for the moon." Chris and I will still say that if we see the moon.
From this movie?
Yes.
See?
It's God's thumbnail.
It's got staying power.
I think mostly just JP.
Back to the pickup baseball game. So then there's a big kid who comes up to play. He's got a bat in his hand. What do you think they call him? They don't ask him his name. What do they call him?
I don't recall.
Babe Ruth.
Oh.
Are you a big kid with a baseball bat? Babe Ruth. Well, maybe a little.
He's growling a bit. He seemed a little
He's
angry.
rough and tumble. And maybe because he's being called Babe Ruth his whole fucking life.
That could be.
I guess there's worse baseball players to be called, but still, my point stands.
And worse name. It's better than Vincent or Marvin or any of those.
This is where, let's scratch any other problematic aspects of this movie. Here's my biggest problematic issue with this whole movie.
Okay, because then maybe we get into the rest of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, well, they're all second tier in my eyes, because you don't get to take a classic movie like Hook and just pluck a joke right from it. Where they tell Marvin to run home and he runs home. I'm sorry, not on my watch. Not happening. This movie came out after Hook, and you know that joke. They watched that movie and they're like, "Yep, gonna use that one. No one's gonna notice. Not a podcast 30 years later, sir or ma'am."
You know how much I love Hook. I took these as separate things because I just took it as a kid being naive. And he's just going, run home, run home, run home. And
You
they're
listen
laughing.
here. Listen here. Marvin and Dorothy and Alice or whatever your fucking names are. You know you plucked that joke. You know you did it. And he can't be here to answer your questions, but still, the point stands.
That whole scene is a throwaway scene, too.
It is. You didn't need it.
You don't need any part of that.
You don't need it, but George is softening up. You need him. You need
But
the
him
setup.
driving the kids, that can't be enough.
I mean,
he's got to play a game with a bunch of kids that are not very good.
Yeah.
The talent level, not great.
Not great. But so this is where you get a turn in the movie. So now we've got a big game coming up against your beloved White Sox. Tell me you wore that sweatshirt on purpose.
I didn't.
Oh my God. Absolutely incredible.
I did not.
So this is where I wanted to ask you because we covered Rookie of the Year, which is about the Cubs.
Yep.
And you turned to me and said, what were your thoughts? This is your team that you enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
Now I get to ask you the very same question. Here come your Chicago White Sox.
Yeah.
As a kid, do you remember being torn, watching this again? Are you going, well, listen, the whole movie's set up for the Angels to win, but here come
Not
my
in the
hometown
slightest.
heroes. No.
And again, same thing in Major League.
Yeah.
The big bad White
That's
Sox are looking to steal the pennant away from them because that's all that matters.
I mean, to their credit, I mean, they in the baseball movies that mattered, here came the White Sox. They had staying power.
Because in '94 they were good, and now they're hot garbage, and they will forever be that way until Reinsdorf sells the team. I don't want to get too agitated, Nick. You've already on
our other podcast called Sidebars.
It's spiking.
But the big baseball player at the end on the White Sox, I thought he was the same one from Major League for a second. I was like, is that your neighbor?
Yeah.
Is it him again? Is he coming back?
Maybe.
Who's to say?
It's all the same actors.
I mean,
they just recycle
in my
White
mind
Sox
it is.
actors.
In my mind, it is. I know it wasn't because I looked it up because I wanted to know, but it wasn't.
All right, I have some racist / problematic situations.
Hit the song.
I'm problematic.
Roger and JP at the beginning of the movie, they're sitting on a tree watching the game. The score is 7-0, and you can hear someone say, "Come on, Angels, let's stay in this." It's 7-0, guy.
Are they not in it?
I don't think they're staying in it. I think
been
they
in it?
are gone, and I'm pretty sure whatever's going to happen next is not going to get them closer to being in it. The outfielders run into one another. The manager fights the pitcher.
Yep.
Ranch Wilder says that the pitcher has thrown the ball and his glove into the stands. He does not. He clearly does not throw his glove or the mitt into the stands.
Lay off the booze.
Then the security guard says Roger and JP better have tickets for that tree. I don't think that they do. And I better not catch you twerps around again. First off, the language.
Easy.
Wow.
We're trying to keep it PG here. Do you mind? You horse's ass.
So if that's a strike, then you're blind as a horse's ass.
Yep.
Our horse's ass is blind.
There's at least one brown eye that I'm aware of. I mean,
so I Googled it. Horses' asses. 2020 vision.
Google is doing some heavy lifting in this episode.
Not blind.
Clear as day, they see.
Some nearsighted.
Oh, they wear their cheaters.
But not blind. Al bends the foul pole to the side.
Yes.
If the ball hits the pole, it's fair. Correct?
Oh, yes.
You played baseball.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's no reason to bend it. It doesn't have to go inside the foul pole. It just has to hit it. So if he did nothing, so great work, Al. You did nothing.
He's doing a lot of nothing.
Mel Clark has 6 months to live. I get it's from smoking, but he's a major league pitcher, and really 6 months, that just seems like a quick timeline.
He took a hard turn.
Oh,
listen,
a
kid,
super hard turn.
Don't smoke. Don't smoke.
And so because of that, because Roger knows this, Al knows this, indirectly then George Knox knows he's about to die, so he wants to leave him in the game to have his glory moment. So I already
know this is going.
I didn't look to see how many pitches have been thrown or the most pitches thrown by a major league pitcher in a game. But why does he have to finish the game?
It's a fair point.
So he has thrown 156 pitches, and I'm writing that down.
Yes.
Then 157, 158, 159, 160. The game ends. He catches the ball after his 160th pitch. That might have killed him. Maybe he wouldn't have died in 6 months if you took him out 60 pitches earlier, George.
Fair point. You overworked.
What is your plan?
Also, 160 pitches? I don't think that's all that much if you're pitching a whole game.
You think that's that much? 100 right now. If you get to the 100 pitch mark, they're like, oof, that's a lot.
But in the 90s,
in the 90s,
the speed of the pitches were off.
and so we should have looked that up. Like Nolan Ryan probably pitched like 212 pitches in a game.
Exactly.
But 160, and he doesn't have to finish it.
Yeah.
And then why is Ranch Wilder so happy when they're like, ugh, it's about time. Mel Clark is getting pulled from the game. And he stands up and starts smiling. Why do you care?
For a guy who works for the team, he is.
And I get the hatred toward George Knox.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But this is a positive move, probably, in theory, to make the Angels win the game. Why are you so happy?
This team pays your salary, as my understanding. I mean, it gives you the job, so maybe don't hate them so much.
The bare minimum, if they win, you probably get a ring.
Just win.
Do you not want that?
No, I don't.
So, final question. Do the Angels win the World Series? I don't know.
And your Angels in the outfield, do they?
I don't. In my heart, I think lightning strikes the field and everyone dies, because that would make me feel how I feel.
At least there's closure. At least that's an ending.
I feel good. I feel bad. I feel nauseous, gassy. There's a lot of indigestion is happening.
But I did love the setup of the game where JGL can't make it, so they got to win it on their own. And I thought, oh, this is their chance. This feels like a lot of sports movies where they're...
Oh, because he's in court?
Now they're going to muster up the strength to win it. Twist, they lose. And it isn't even really the final game. But I, as an adult, went, oh, I kind of thought this was that moment where they go, come on, guys, we can do it, and win. And they actually didn't. No. So I kind of enjoyed that little bit of a twist from what I was
So he just sat in court all day, and his dad was like, I just wasted your time.
Yeah.
Sorry for that.
I'm out of here. Peace.
But I'm not sorry.
And that is that is a heart-wrenching scene. JGL turning on the waterworks, like watching his dad walk out on him probably forever. Like it's rough, man. They don't coddle all this. They're taking you through the journey. But on the opposite side of, you get sadness, then you get some kind of other feeling, which is JP. You think for a second, maybe JP can see angels. But what he's actually looking at is a hot baseball player that he's... Is he having feelings for them? Is it just that he looks like an angel? Like, there's just a moment where I was waiting for Dreamweaver to come on and like some saxophone.
Yeah.
JP, I don't know. Is JP going through something there? What your thoughts?
Never fully explained.
No, he just, I guess
it's ambiguous.
But so there's there's the scene that comes up that I think might have been the reason why this movie doesn't end up on streaming.
Okay.
Roger's response to George talking about what his thoughts are. He goes, there's no God up there. And part of me thought, is that enough for Disney executives to be like, no, we've talked about God a lot. There's a lot of religion. We have a kid who's basically just denouncing God. Like, it felt like if there's any reason there's nothing that I felt more problematic than possibly that to like a Disney executive.
I think they were just showing that someone who believed so much that he wished upon a star and had something pointless happen to a team that really doesn't matter the outcome. Right. That he is just completely abandoned.
I think it's fine. Faith. But what I'm saying is when Disney's looking at their Disney Plus slate and they go, not this movie, it feels like that might be the only place they reach to.
It could be.
So an article then comes out talking about Roger and the Angels. And my question to that was, so Ranch is the announcer and also one of the journalists who comes to the press conferences and does
he
the
has
interviews?
A lot of hats.
He's wearing many a hat. He is part-time announcer, part-time journalist, full-time alcoholic.
And this is honestly one of the things that I don't think is problematic. Maggie's there, fine, whatever. And she is just like, okay, if a player takes a knee in a game or thanks God, is that weird? I'm like, this makes a lot of sense. What she's saying,
I love this scene.
I'm kind of on board.
She says, after making a touchdown, loved it, loved the wording.
That's how you make touchdowns.
And they drop a line, you've got to have faith, you've got to believe. And my response to that was this movie written by a youth pastor? Because I just wanted I wanted so many more lines of, you know who had a hot hand? Jesus. God. You know who catches all our bad pitches? Jesus. You know who's always there even in a slump? Jesus. Like, I just wanted some more.
Just lean into it
some
super
youth
hard.
Pastor fodder, yeah. It just
who
like
always gets a hat trick? Like, just go super deep.
Like, to the point where people are leaving the press conference, like, are they still going to keep doing this?
You know who has a perfect game? Every Sunday? Jesus.
And this is, again, the confounding logistics of Angels and when and where they can and can't impact a game. We get Al coming back to say Angels can't impact championship games.
The playoffs. They can't come back for the playoffs.
They can't come back for the playoffs. So there's, again, some very specific
regular
rules
season's fine
that do not make sense here. But this,
but
you're
they
on your own.
don't. They don't want to draw attention to them.
Right.
They don't like cursing.
Right.
Playoffs are out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I guess it's fair game if a kid wishes upon a star.
Yep.
And, okay.
Mm-hmm. And that's where Al says, Mel's going to die in 6 months. Don't worry. He's taken care of. You concentrate. Yeah, I'm going to not be bothered by the fact that I'm looking at a dead man walking over.
Right.
And not tell him, be like, Mel, you're going to, whatever you're doing, don't do it. Go home for the next 6 months and sit.
And you see him lean into like him coughing too on the mount. You're like,
I was waiting for the coughing blood into a napkin.
Right.
Like, oh no.
I'll just wipe it on your jersey or something. Yeah.
But this is where they have specifically throughout the movie said, you can't lie. We can't lie about the angels. We can't lie. Angels don't like lying.
Yep.
Well, guess what's about to happen? A lie. Mm-hmm. They go up to Mel. They say, angels are here. There's an angel here right now. I'm sorry. The first rule about Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club, okay? And you broke the cardinal rule, all right?
Very true.
Negating the whole ending. They lose, and that's the ball game, all right? No pennant for you.
I wonder if they told him after the game. It's like, oh no, they do, don't they? Don't they say that was all you?
Yeah, it was all you.
And he's like,
so does that negate the lie in the first place? Oh, what's good for the goose again? Like, come on, give me a break. That's
maybe
a lie.
The game never
You're
happened. Maybe again, this could go so deep in meta. I don't know. But speaking of him dying, Nick,
dead or alive.
So we have Taylor Negron, which was David. He sits in nachos.
He's alive.
He is not.
He's not alive.
No, not on this planet.
No.
He died from cancer in 2015.
Taylor.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry too.
Yeah.
He was good in Biodome in this.
Yeah. I liked him a lot.
He was so sassy in this movie.
He really
so much
was.
Sass.
Yeah. Lots playing hard in the sass. Ben Johnson, he was the owner, Hank Murphy.
Oh, he was old in that movie.
He was quite old.
Yeah, he is past.
Yeah, he'd be 105 today.
But a sprightly 105, yeah.
Very light on his feet.
Yeah.
But yes, he died in 1996.
Yeah.
Then there were some surprising ones.
Oh, no.
Some bigger names.
Don't you even dare say JGL, because I know the answer to that.
He's alive. Oh. But some bigger names that you forget. Are they alive? Are they dead?
Oh, okay.
Christopher Lloyd.
Oh, no. See, I should have referenced our Dennis the Menace episode. Maybe you asked me that.
Mm-hmm.
He's alive. He's alive.
He is.
He is alive because I've seen him doing press for other movies.
Yes.
So he's alive.
He's alive. He's 85 years old.
85?
Yep. Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, come on.
Dead.
All right.
Dead.
Illegal. You lied. The angels are upset.
I really hope he doesn't die now. I will feel terrible. I wanted to add a few more, like Adrian Brody,
yeah.
but no, everyone else alive. I couldn't find anyone else that had died that even was affiliated with this movie.
Except all three of the writers who wrote the original movie, evidently.
But also...
All did this movie and then were like, I'm out of here, peace.
They phoned it in.
And you could tell.
I think they'd still be alive today if they put a little more effort into it.
And I think at the end... What kind of played to an argument, a conversation that you and I have had about other movies. There's almost a Dottie dropping the ball situation.
How dare you?
It almost happened. It kind of like tickled that feeling. I was like, don't you do it?
Well, can I just hang on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm about to. No, I hung on.
Yeah.
Instead of Dottie purposely dropping it so that kid could score. And
all right. Well, that's again. She would never have done that on purpose. That's neither here nor there.
And this is where we get a heartfelt moment. George adopts the kids. It
makes no sense.
You know it was coming. You knew when he came to the house.
sense.
You knew he's coming. He's coming to get Roger and JP.
Both of them. Well, JP's coming too.
Not Maggie. You stay your ass at home, Maggie. Yeah.
Maggie, stay in your empty house with your sleeping bags.
And then they close the movie with the Grim Reaper himself swooping in just to hit you one more time, letting you know.
Just imagine if it was Switchblade Sam. If they
reprised
his character. Just for one last more nightmare.
It kind of felt like it because the last line of the movie is, "We're always watching." If that's not a threat, I don't know what is. I'm sorry.
True.
Trivia and facts.
The first choice for Al, who was taken by Christopher Lloyd, Leslie Nelson, who was busy with the sequel for Naked Gun. 33rd and a third, the final insult.
I would be fine with that, actually. Mm-hmm. I'm fine with Leslie Nielsen.
I think that would have been enjoyable.
Yeah.
But so after Tony Danza signed on, he persuaded Christopher Lloyd to take the role. And then Tony Danza and Christopher Lloyd co-starred the following year in Rent-A-Kid, which is a movie I am not familiar with. So
Nor
maybe
am I.
one we'll cover in the future.
Okay.
Tony La Russa makes a cameo in this movie. Him and his family are in the owner's box during the last game.
Did not notice that.
Did not notice that. So it's a little fun fact.
If he was asleep in the second inning, then I would have probably recognized it. But okay.
A hidden Mickey in this movie, which I'm starting to maybe get the feeling every Disney movie has a hidden Mickey. As Roger looks out the window and says, if there is a God out there in the stars, evidently there's a Mickey Mouse.
I think I did see that.
Yeah. So now when you start paying attention for all the hidden Mickeys in our world. I
love me some hidden Mickey.
One of 2 films released in 1994 to feature the Chicago White Sox as the arch rival team. The other movie being
Major League.
Major League, or was it Major League?
Oh, Major League 2.
Well, see if you know your stuff. I got a couple of trivia ones for you. This film cast includes 4 Oscar winners. Who are they? Adrian Brody.
Matthew McConaughey. I can't. Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Wrong. I'll give you one more chance at one of the other 2. Maggie.
Come on.
Yep. And we got one more. Someone who might have been in Dead or Alive.
Christopher Lloyd?
Ben Johnson, the owner. Also,
what?
An Oscar winner. So those are our 4. Some again, heavy hitters.
Lord.
One of those actors, this is their only Disney movie. Which one?
Only one of them is their only?
Of the 4 Oscar winners, this is their only Disney movie.
Oh, man. Adrian Brody?
All right. Matthew McConaughey himself. His only Disney movie so far. That can always change.
True.
Problematic. We've covered some things.
We have.
I said, depending on your views, this entire movie maybe because of religious.
Again, or the plot. The plot is so problematic. The very thing I hope to happen has no bearing on my outcome or the rest of my life. And that's the only thing I want.
Yep.
And either the angels are just shitty listeners, because he said,
talked about
I want a family, and if the angels have to win to make that happen, let's do it. They don't.
Yeah, they don't.
They could have just said, actually, you misunderstood your father. I get it, because he's a dirtbag. But what he meant was it's never going to happen.
Right.
And then in a pure Dumb and Dumber move, he trades in his truck for a motorcycle.
Love it.
I just felt
It's
like
pure cool vibe.
Just when I think you couldn't get any dumber. You do this and totally redeem yourself. That is exactly what I felt like.
Sequels, prequels, spinoffs, and such.
We've got a few. So before this movie, again, this is a remake. So Angels in the Outfield, 1951.
Yes.
This film is about a young woman reporter who blames the Pittsburgh Pirates' losing streak on their abusive manager, who begins hearing the voice of an angel promising to help the team if he changes his ways. Budget was $1.1 million and it grossed $1.7 million. So a seemingly similar experience for the 1994.
So run it back.
Run it back. That's what I said. I was like, well, this looks like a winner. Let's remake this. Angels in the Outfield, 1994. This is where we get the sequels. Any of that you're familiar with, sir?
I had heard Angels in the End Zone.
Angels in the End Zone.
And then I saw Angels in the Infield.
Right. We didn't cover baseball already. Oh, yes, we did actually, but we'll just bring them. We'll bring them into the infield.
They were in the outfield.
It's a different thing this time.
It's only infield.
Yep.
Totally different, you guys.
Angels in the End Zone, 1997. So just a few years later, they got Christopher Lloyd again.
Yes.
This time they starred Matthew Lawrence. So a little bit of heat,
Done.
90s heat. And Angels in the Infield in the year 2000. Featuring David Alan Grier and Patrick Warburton, also known as Putty from Seinfeld, or Kronk, I believe, from Emperor's New Groove.
Okay.
So again, some more heavy hitters of the late 90s, early 2000s. And that movie's about a group of angels trying to help a baseball team win a championship game, while at the same time helping to reunite the team's pitcher's family.
Aw.
A little heartfelt. Is this movie appropriately rated or reviewed? I sided with Ebert. I don't know if it's a 25. I could be convinced. I definitely don't think it's good. But 25, like Siskel came in hot for this. So what were your thoughts?
I was so excited for you to watch this, and I'm going strictly on nostalgia.
Sure.
And
which can carry a bad movie. Enough nostalgia for it.
Absolutely.
I love The Labyrinth. We don't need to get into it.
And the cast. Because when you look, I'm like, holy cow, they're in this too?
How could it be bad?
So I think undecided.
Okay.
If I...
You're leaving it to our viewers.
I think if I am going to, on that given day, say that I enjoy it, it is strictly for nostalgic sake.
Okay.
But make no confusion about this. This is a bad movie.
I said, I do not recommend this movie.
But I think I still recommend it.
Yeah?
But I still think it's a bad movie.
Okay.
Like, I think if someone said, should I watch this? I would say yes.
If you're 8.
But it's bad.
But you have to go back to 1994 and
bad.
be 8 years old.
Yes, watch it and then know that you're watching a bad movie.
Yeah. Well, this
if you're okay with that?
Yeah. This always speaks to my ethos of you going with a low bar, you can't lose. You know, you go in expecting the worst. It can only be better than that, or just what you expect.
And you could be spot on.
Yeah.
You could just be right. You could be like, this is going to be bad.
Yeah.
I was right.
Guess what? I didn't waste my time. I was right. This movie's bad.
It's so bad. It's as bad as I imagined.
So go enjoy this bad movie with you and your
if you can find it.
Good luck.
And if you can't, maybe it was meant to be.
Thank you for listening. Please follow, rate, review, like, and subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you listen to podcasts. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and tune in next week when we review another cinematic masterpiece from our childhood. Until then, keep your nose clean and your heart warm.